Father Moreau's vision for Christian education is a vision of holistic formation. He famously wrote that the mind would not be cultivated at the expense of the heart, and that our understanding of what it means to be an educated person requires both formation of the mind and formation of the soul. That our students leave this university not just as smarter people, but as responsible members of the human family, folks who see and understand their place in building up the kingdom of God. That does mean at times that on this campus, every now and then, there is a formative conversation with a student, an opportunity to engage and help someone see a more holistic version of themselves. And a common thread in many of these conversations, though difficult, is helping a student understand that in a challenging time or situation, they might have some responsibility in how things went and how things will go. How easy it is when we ask someone, how did this happen? How did you find yourself in this spot? For the response to be, well, this person did this, and that person did that, and this person really has it out for me, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And sometimes the challenge is to say, sure, it is entirely possible that the entire world is engaged in a grand conspiracy to screw you over. But maybe, just maybe, there's a little bit of interior work that needs to be done. That it's not everyone else out to get you, but there might be something in your own life that is contributing to this pattern. But the reality, friends, is that that's not just a conversation that's had here at Notre Dame. That's a conversation that's had all over the world. It's a conversation we have with ourselves all the time, because it's not an instinct just for undergraduate students. It's part of our human nature. It's always easier for us to see the shortcomings and faults and foibles of someone else than to be open and honest about our own. It's always much easier to point out how someone else's actions or behaviors negatively contribute to my own life or impinge on my own life. And much more difficult is it for us to be honest about the fact that there are things in our own life that sometimes don't contribute to our human flourishing. Things that we're embarrassed about, things that we're ashamed of, things that we would rather hide from the rest of the world, from God even, because we don't like them about ourselves. A pattern of sin, a behavior, an attitude, any number of things. But our readings today, friends, invite us to think about what it might mean to bring those things to light. To be honest with ourselves about those wooden beams that might exist in our own lives, so that we might help our brothers and sisters remove the speck in theirs. To think about how we nurture and sustain the soil of our own life in a relationship with God, in a life of prayer, so that the fruit that we produce is a fruit that can give life to the world. That's really hard to do, because being honest about our shortcomings makes us feel less than. It makes us feel inadequate somehow. We wonder if we're right enough or worthy enough or holy enough or any number of things. And we can be afraid that being honest about those things drops us down the ranking of the great scheme of the world. But what God promises us today, and in fact every day, is that He is the one who gives us the life of holiness. He is the one that seeks to illumine our life with His divine light. And that if we allow His light into those dark recesses of our soul that we would rather not see, it's not that he seeks to expose us for the frauds that we really are, but he rather seeks to use his light to heal, to purify, to save. We need not be afraid of exposing the inner depths of our soul to God's divine light so that he might call us out. Rather, we should seek to invite God's light into those places, because it's only God who will give us the strength and the courage and the grace to heal, to grow in holiness. It's our trust in the saving power of God's light that allows us to be honest with ourselves so that we can work on those things we're not always proud of, so that we have the courage to tackle that sin that's been plaguing us for so many years, so that we can trust that though we may fall time and time again, God's light and love are always right there to pick us back up, to nudge us onward on the in the path of holiness. The gospel today, friends, invites us to self-reflection and self-awareness, to self-honesty, not because it wants to make us feel worse about ourselves, but because that radical honesty is the first step in our march towards holiness. That saving light is one our catechumens are readying themselves for in a very unique way, because they will receive it most abundantly and radically in the saving waters of baptism. The next 6 weeks for them will be a time of self-reflection and formation so that they might invite God's light and life into theirs in the most unique of ways, by seeking to die to self so that they might rise with Christ forever. They begin this task in an intense way this day as we send them forth to Bishop Rhodes to be called to the elect, and so that Bishop Rhodes might choose them to be candidates for that most sacred sacrament. And so, catechumens, please know that as we send you forth from this community, that our prayers are indeed with you. That yes, what we will ask of you and the church will ask of you in the next 6 weeks will be challenging, will be difficult, might even cause some resistance in your hearts. But know that with God's grace, we are with you. That God seeks to share his light with you so that he might shower you with his love, wrap you with his grace, and welcome you into his saving kingdom.